مرحبا بكم مشاهدينا في حوارات السياق. بعد 8 جولات من المفاوضات في فيينا، هل ستتمكن القوى الكبرى من إحياء الاتفاق النووي الذي تم التوقيع عليه بين رئاسة باراك أوباما عام 2015 وتخلى عنه خلفه دونالد ترامب بعد 3 أعوام؟ تبدو جولة المفاوضات التي استؤنفت الثلاثاء حاسمة. عموما للمزيد من المتابعة حول هذا الملف تنضم إلينا أندريا ستريكر، الباحثة في مؤسسة الدفاع عن الديمقراطيات والمتخصصة في البرنامج النووي الإيراني. أستاذة أندريا، مرحبا بك معنا.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
الإدارة الأمريكية أعادت العمل بإعفاءات أساسية تسمح للدول والشركات بالمشاركة في البرنامج النووي المدني الإيراني دون فرض عقوبات أمريكية عليها. هل يعني هذا أننا أقرب الآن إلى إبرام اتفاق؟
Well, it sounds like they are making progress in Vienna. I even heard a report that perhaps there are about 20 pages of understandings that is circulating in Iran at the highest levels, even maybe to the Ayatollah's office. So it looks like we may be on the way. The civil nuclear waivers that you mentioned are one sign of that. That would facilitate some of the nuclear deal provisions and allow foreign countries to do work in Iran on its nuclear program. So I think we're on the way.
كيف سيكون شكل هذا الاتفاق؟ المتشائمون كثر.
Well, the original accord began in 2015. Its implementation day was early 2016. So essentially, we're about 6 years into this accord. A lot of the value of it has already expired, in fact. So by 2024, some of what we call the sunsets kick in. Those are the end of provisions of the deal. So Iran will be allowed to manufacture some of its fastest, most advanced centrifuges, which enrich uranium. And that's the fissile material that you would use in a nuclear weapon. So the deal actually paves Iran's path to having a larger enrichment program and a shorter capability to make nuclear weapons. By 2029, it can legally stockpile up to 2,400 of these fast advanced centrifuge machines. So, combined with the deal's caps on the amount of enriched uranium that Iran can have and some temporary other limitations, at the end of the deal, Iran will essentially be on the threshold of being able to make nuclear weapons. So this deal is expiring and it's not really the answer to this issue.
أفهم من حديثك أنه لم يتبقى الكثير للاتفاق عليه، أليس كذلك؟
Well, that's right. There's not much value left. And if the deal is premised on expanding Iran's nuclear program and positioning it to be essentially days to weeks away from having weapons-grade uranium, then there's not much point in giving them billions of dollars in sanctions relief that they're just going to use on terrorism. We know this. They did it before with the last deal.
أتعتقدين أن الأزمة في أوكرانيا دفعت باتجاه تسريع الأمور والتحمس أكثر لعقد اتفاق؟
I think the Biden administration is almost religiously committed to this deal. And they understand that it sort of puts the Iran nuclear issue in a box for a couple of years. They don't want an Iranian nuclear weapon on their watch, and they don't want Iran to continue amassing enriched uranium. So it deals with the enriched uranium issue, and it helps restore monitoring from the UN nuclear watchdog on Iran's nuclear program. But it leaves the world with another crisis in just a matter of years. So it's irresponsible, in my opinion. It's irresponsible to give billions of dollars to Iran for a deal that just resurrects this crisis very soon.
ماذا عن الحديث عن وجود خلافات وسط الفريق الأمريكي المفاوض، وأن تساهل روبرت مالي مع طهران أحدث نوعاً من الانقسام داخل الفريق؟
It sounds like some of the members of the team left, and it's unfortunate because the administration had committed to have differing voices and opinions. The people that reportedly left, such as Richard Nephew, they tend to be more moderate in their views, and they understand how to negotiate with Iran. They understand that you can't just concede everything to them and essentially permit them to tear up all the understandings that were reached over the summer during 6-7 rounds of talks. And that's what Iran did when it first came back to the negotiating table. So I think, Mali, he's so extreme on the side of conceding to Iran, offering them whatever they want to get back into this deal. these moderates had an issue with it, and rightly so, they walked away from the talks.
ما الذي يمكن أن نفهمه من تصريحات بنت بأن أمريكا منحت تل أبيب حرية التصرف تجاه طهران حتى في حال إبرام اتفاق؟
Well, I think it means that Israel will continue to perhaps take measures to set back Iran's nuclear program. Over the last couple of years, we've seen a number of actions, such as explosions going off at nuclear facilities. There was a drone attack on a centrifuge plant. We've seen cyber attacks over the years, assassinations even. So I think what the United States may have told Israel is, look, we understand that you're going to continue to take action. They probably don't appreciate it, but because it could destabilize the nuclear deal. But they also understand that Israel has to safeguard its own interests.
طيب، كان هذا عن موقف إسرائيل. ماذا عن المواقف الأوروبية في المفاوضات؟ هل هي مكملة للمواقف الأمريكية؟ هناك تسريبات تقول إن موقف بريطانيا مثلا بات أكثر صرامة.
Well, sometimes Britain will lead the way on taking a harder line, but ultimately if the United States doesn't lead, then Europe tends to fall behind, and they tend to go with whatever the United States wants to do. They did that during the 2015 negotiation under Obama, and it seems like they will probably do the same here. And it's unfortunate because somebody needs to insist on a longer and stronger accord. Short of that, they should end this deal, restore the UN sanctions against Iran, and really do a reset on this entire policy.
المخاوف من أن تستغل طهران رفع العقوبات وتحسن من وضعها المالي والاقتصادي، وذلك لتمويل الحرس الثوري والميليشيات الإرهابية في المنطقة جدية كما تعلمين. هل سيتم أخذ هذا البعد بعين الاعتبار؟
Well, yeah, they understand that this money could be used for terrorism and to fund Iran's proxy militias. But for some reason, they think that giving Iran money and hoping that it will restrain itself is the best answer. So instead of really addressing the threat posed by Iran holistically, they're essentially trying to bribe it to behave for a little while. You mentioned having a longer, stronger accord. So if we sought something like that, we would want something that doesn't permit enrichment at all. It would be something where Iran cannot be trusted with uranium enrichment and being close to nuclear weapons. It would need to fully account for the nuclear weapons work to date that it has done, which it never has. And I think short of any deal, if a deal is impossible, even if we restore sanctions pressure, a containment policy. We need to contain the threat, not keep giving them money to further their weapons programs and export terror.
بعد مرور كل هذا الوقت أنت لا ترين جدوى من إبرام اتفاق مع إيران. ما الحل إذن؟
I think we need to restore the multilateral pressure campaign with the United States and its European allies. That would entail restoring the prior UN Security Council resolutions. That would restore the arms embargo on Iran that expired in 2020 under this deal. And then it would prevent the expiration of the 2023 missile embargo. So Iran pretty soon will be able to conduct missile launches and import and export missiles and import all that it needs to expand its missile program. And it would prevent the expiration of all these nuclear provisions, which would give Iran a legal pathway to the threshold of nuclear weapons. The US Congress has a role to play here. So Republicans and Democrats who oppose the deal, who understand that it's just a short-term, temporary rollback, but leads to a massive expansion of the program, they can try to vote to stop the lifting of sanctions. Even if they don't have the votes in the Congress to achieve that, at least they will send a deterrent message to international business. So they won't be able to invest in Iran. They'll hopefully understand that sanctions will return under a different president, and they'll understand that they can't, invest and give Iran more money.
أندريا ستريكر، شكرا جزيلا لك للمشاركة معنا في حوارات السياق.
Thank you.
مشاهدينا، شكرا على طيب المتابعة. إلى الملتقى.